Deuteronomy 8, 7 through 11. And we see this is what we saw this in the Dead Sea Scrolls. For Yahuah, your mighty one, is bringing you into a good land. This land is a good land. Remember, it's a land of brooks and water, of fountains of springs. Now we understand. This is why the land it's so fruitful. It's fountains and springs that flows out the valleys and hills, a land of wheat and barley, of vines and fig trees and pomegranates, and a land of olive oil and honey. Everything we need for survival. A land in which you will eat bread without scarcity. Once again, there will be plenty. This land gives off plenty. She feeds and nourishes her children. GMO free, let's say it, non-poisonous. You don't need, there shouldn't be, they're telling us this is organic, that's organic. None of that stuff is organic. This is the real deal here. This is natural coming out of the ground, in which you will lack nothing. You will lack nothing. You have more than enough to give away. This is why we don't reap the corners, reap the edges. We keep this for those that's poor. A land whose stones are iron, and out of whose hills you can dig copper. When you have eaten, here we go, and are full, then you shall barak Yahuah, your mighty one, for the good land which he has given you. So we need to barak him. We need to barak him for what we experience. We need to respond to his kindness. Beware that you do not forget. And this is where we fall short. We forget the things he does for us. Beware that you do not forget Yahuah, your mighty one, by not keeping his commandments, his judgments, and statutes, which I command you today. When he leave us, meaning, okay, he set us up, and now he sits back and he watches. When the first man was in the garden, he was there. Then he set him up, and he left him, and he watching. Now it's up to you. You handle your business, do what you're supposed to do. Then he did something he had no business doing, and now here comes the Most High. So when he sits back, when it feels like he's gone, he's in his dwelling, he's looking down at us, he's watching, he's seeing, and we do something we have no business doing. Then he come back to ask us a question. What are you doing? Was it not I that gave you these things, and you forgot the one who gave it to you? Did I not command you to keep all my commandments, my judgment, and my statutes? And he mean what he says. We see he's a man of his word. Deuteronomy 11, 10 through 12. For the land which you go to possess it, not like the land of Egypt. This land, the land of Egypt, is, the scriptures say, is well watered. This land in Egypt, it produced crops like you wouldn't believe. But this land is not like the land of Egypt from which you came from. It's definitely not like Babylon. The place is polluted. Where you sow your seed and water it. See, you have to water it. You have to do it yourself as a vegetable garden. But the land which you cross over to possess is a land of hills and valleys, which drinks water from the rain of Shamayim. A land for which you don't have to water it. A land for which Yahuah, your mighty one, cares. Now, where they are today, they have to water it. I told you, they're not receiving the benefits of this lovely land because the real people are gone. And she's not nurturing righteous children. Her children is in captivity. The eyes, this is the part you have to understand. The eyes of Yahuah, your mighty one, are always on it. He's always watching this land. And if we're in the land, his eyes is on us from the beginning of the year to the very end of the year. So even though Gooey is over there in the land right now, even though Gooey is over there, trodden it down until, until the times of the Gentile be fulfilled. They are trodden down the land. His eyes is on it. He's watching it. He's watching this land and he's watching them people. And he's angry. He's upset with these people. Deuteronomy 28, 8 and 9. Yahuah will command the Baraka on you in your storehouses. We should have storehouses. The Most High, he has a storehouse. Louis takes care of the offerings that comes in, and they have to put a portion in the storehouse. We should have storehouse. And in all to which you set your hand, and he will barak you in the land which Yahuah, your mighty one, is giving you. So you notice where your baraka is. Where is your baraka? Here's another message. Where is your baraka? People don't know where their baraka. Your baraka is in the land which Yahuah is giving you. This is where our baraka is. Our baraka is not in Babylon. Our baraka is not in the land of Ham. Our baraka is in this land the Most High has his eyes on. It's in this land that he barak for his people. Yahuah will establish you as a Kadash people to himself, just as he has sworn to you, if you keep the commandments of Yahuah, your mighty one, and walk in his ways. There is something for us to do. And we have to be careful to observe all his commandments. We have to be careful to make sure we remember this lovely land and not forget the land. And we keep his commands. We keep his word in the land the way he spoke it. Exodus 12 and 25. It will come to pass when you come to the land which Yahuah will give you, just as he promised, that you shall keep this service. He intended on us to keep the service in the land. All of us together, all the sons of Yaakov. This is what we are to do. This is what we should be thinking. And not this split up mentality. We come from a split up mentality. He's going to put this people back together with or without you and I. Because we could get cut off. We have to know and understand this. He's going to put this people back together, back in this lovely land to keep the service. What he commanded. We can't keep Torah. We can't keep. There are many, many parts of Torah we cannot keep outside of this land. And we have to understand this. And people yet trying to keep Passover, trying to keep a lot of these Kadash days, and we can't do it outside, calling themselves Yehuda, but trying to do the service of Louis. This is wickedness. And these people don't understand what they're dealing in is wickedness. Zechariah 2 and 12. And Yahuah will take possession of Yehuda as his inheritance, once again, with or without you and I. He's going to take possession of Yehuda as his inheritance in the Kadash land, not in Babylon. His eyes on Babylon to destroy it. His eyes is on this Kadash land. And will again choose Jerusalem, because we have many people, they're doing things similar to Christianity. Christianity said the law is done away with. The Torah is done away with. That's the old covenant. We live in a new covenant. We new covenant keepers. This is what they teach. And they forget the land. And they forget Jerusalem. You see, now, the people that call themselves Hebrew Israelites, they forget the land and they forget Jerusalem. And that's why they believe in their heart they're doing what they feel is right in their own eyes. They believe we can keep Passover outside of Jerusalem, but we are to keep Pesach where he placed his name. And only where he placed his name, and that place would be Jerusalem. They said, well, they kept Passover in the wilderness. They were all together. They haven't yet been established in the land. Shut your mouth, please. Please learn to understand scripture. You heard a Babylonian teacher teaching you that they kept it in the wilderness so we can keep it. They were together. They have never been established in the land. And when we go into the wilderness, if the Most High wills for us to keep it, it's him that would have to will us in the wilderness. But we would have all of Yasharah together. We will be gathered together as one man, as the scripture says. Amos 9:15. I will plant them in their land. Are you going to be planted in the land? Now, if you refuse to come out of Babylon, if you believe in the Babylonian teachers, you won't be planted in the land. Right now, we have many people in Babylon. They're making plans. They're making their plans to come out. Many of them on their way out. And here it is. These people will have the opportunity to be planted in their land. But those that refuse, they won't have an opportunity. So he will plant them in their land. Here we go. Speaking on the land again. And no longer shall they be pulled up from the land that I have given. Now we know this is dealing with the end times here. This is dealing with the time when he set us up forevermore. And we will never be pulled back up. We will never go in captivity again. We know this is the last captivity. This has been a very, very long captivity. And those curses, he says these curses will be upon us until they consume us. Those curses wore down heavy on us. They are still weighing on us. And we see our people suffering the curses of Deuteronomy 28. So he says, I've given them this land, says Yahuah. He gave the people this land. 2 Maccabees 2:18. As he promised through the Torah. For we have hope in the Most High that he will soon have favor upon us and will gather us from everywhere under the sun. He's going to gather us everywhere under the sun. Everywhere means everywhere, not one place. There's not one land mass that you will find people he's not gathering us from. Every place under Shamaim unto his Kadash place, dwelling together as one man. And this Kadash place is the lovely land he has his eyes on. For he has rescued us from great evils. Here's the rescue. And has purified the place. The place will be cleansed and purified. The people will be cleansed and purified and ready to inherit this lovely land. This will be a time we've never seen. This will be a time our people have never experienced. And no other people than this last captivity will get to experience this, the Most High's Baraka coming down upon us. Because we went through the longest captivity. We suffered so long. They suffered, but not the suffering we suffered. They knew who they were in their suffering. Our suffering caused us to call ourselves Christians, to call ourselves everything, to call ourselves after the son of the enemy. This is what we were calling ourselves. So this last captivity, it destroyed us. And this is what it was meant to do. So we must always remember this lovely land. Never, ever forget this lovely land, this Kadash place. And his eyes is always on this land. And we should keep all his laws, statutes, and commandments. Shalom.